Boys and girls, today we're going to do a little review of some of the things that we've done with insects before. Then we're going to watch a video. We're going to talk about one concept that's kind of coming up and do a few things in our red books. So first, let's do that little bit of review. All right, so we have talked about insects' body parts, right? Head, thorax, abdomen, and here you can't quite see all the legs because some of them are under the wings, right? We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can see 2 antennae. You know that there are 2 more legs tucked underneath there that we can't see. You also know that insects have a life cycle, right? Now, this doesn't even show the egg part, right? There's an egg part over here. The egg hatches into a larva, probably not with all insects. There are a few that don't. The larvae might go through a pupa stage where it forms a chrysalis or a cocoon. And then we have the adult. Girls, the part that we're adding on today is to talk about the habitat. A habitat is where something lives. I think you guys have all done some things with this on Scholastic already. And when a thing lives in an area, it gets from the habitat stuff that it needs. So we're going to look at a few materials here that we would have out in the classroom to talk about these things if we were at school together. So first of all, insects need to move, and different insects will move in different ways in their habitats. These insects might all live in the same habitat but move around it in different ways, right? An ant crawls, a dragonfly flies, a water beetle swims, a grasshopper jumps, and a praying mantis walks. Now, I'm sure you could think of lots of other insects that move as well, other than just these examples here. Now, movement is really important for some insects. Monarch butterflies, here you can see a picture of them migrating. Thousands of them will travel for days and days and days, and they actually move from one habitat to another habitat. So habitats can kind of be really big, or they can also be kind of really small. So when you think about it for a butterfly, oh my goodness, butterflies who live here, they might fly all the way to Mexico for the winter and then come back here in the summertime. So they have huge habitats over huge areas when you think of habitat for butterflies. But you could also think of habitats being just an ant nest where ants live. In that case, it doesn't seem like such a huge habitat, right? Their habitat just seems to be sort of these little rooms here where things happen. So we want to get a little bit more specific about what a habitat actually is so that we're not confused about, well, is it these rooms down here where the ant lives? Is it thousands and thousands of miles big that these monarch butterflies travel through? What is a habitat? So boys and girls, to answer this question now, you need pencil or eraser and you need your red book. So boys and girls, just like your encounter journals, we're going to turn to the next empty page. So for me, I have this page and then I go to this page. Now, because I'm using a marker to make it show up better on camera, sometimes it tries to go through the pages. That's why I've skipped a couple of pages, but in general, you know, you want to go to the next empty page. So here, we're going to start by writing the word habitat. So you can hear right at the beginning, we say hab sometimes, don't we? Habitat. Habitat. So go ahead and write that. All right, and then boys and girls, there are certain things that all organisms, that means anything alive, needs from its habitat. It needs food. So for bees, that might be the nectar from flowers. For praying mantises, it might be other bugs. So the food could be all sorts of different things. But in a habitat, the habitat has to provide food for the thing that lives there. That's what it needs from its habitat. It needs water. Everything alive needs some water, right? Plants need water, insects need water, people need water. It needs shelter. Now, boys and girls, sometimes people think about this being a nest. It doesn't have to be a nest. A nest is more of a place for animals to raise their babies. But it needs some kind of protection. Maybe protection from really cold temperatures or really hot temperatures, or protection from predators that are going to come try to eat it. It needs shelter, a place where it can be safe and protected. And then it needs space. Living things need space to move around and grow, and just like the food could be different for different animals or plants, space could be different too. If you think about a piece of grass, it does not need much for space, does it? But if you think about a black bear, it doesn't just need more space for its body. Black bears like to walk around a whole bunch, so they need lots of space. Butterflies that migrate for days and days and days, they need a lot more space than something like maybe a kitty cat who's just happy to live in your house and have your house be its habitat. So boys and girls, you're about to watch another video that's part of this video that's going to talk about habitat. And think about that as you're watching the video. The animals that you're seeing in the video, where do they get food, water, shelter, and space from their habitats? Go ahead and watch that video.
You ready? Let's go!
A habitat is a home. Look outside your window. What do you see? Is there a forest or a pond near where you live? Forests and ponds are two common habitats. A habitat is a place where plants and animals live and grow. There are many different kinds of habitats in the world. You may have seen grasslands. This habitat is flat and stretches far into the distance. Animals like bison eat the grass. But not all habitats are so flat. The mountain habitat is tall and rocky. Only tough plants like moss can survive up here. Animals that live in the mountains have to be good climbers. Don't look down. A desert is a very dry habitat. It hardly ever rains here. Desert plants have to survive without much water. Plants like cactuses can live a long time without rain. The desert heat is tough on animals. Many of them dig holes underground and stay there all day. At night, when it's cooler, they come out. Finding water is not a problem in the rainforest. It rains a lot here. This habitat is full of trees, flowers, vines, and other plants. The rainforest is also full of animals. Birds, frogs, monkeys, and insects live here. Now let's go into the ocean. In some parts of the ocean, bright fish swim around colorful coral reefs. Seaweed drifts in the waves. As you go deeper into the water, it gets colder and darker. Some fish make their own light. Now let's look at one last habitat, the freezing, icy polar habitat. Here, it can get as cold as 100 degrees below zero. It's windy and snowy. The ground is frozen for most of the year. These habitats all have one thing in common. They are all homes for plants and animals. Now think of your favorite wild animal. What habitat does it live in?
All right, now, boys and girls, the last thing for today, you have a paper that kind of has two other pieces of paper on it. It looks sort of like this. Oop. Can you see up here? Now yours might be the other way from mine. Yours might be like this. So it's got 4 insects on one section, and then this thing here, it says supper time on the other section. Go ahead and get that paper and then cut it so that your two are separate, like mine two are separate. All right, guys, we're gonna do these. That won't be very tricky. We'll get them done pretty quickly. And then I want you to glue them into your red book so that you have this information in there. So this one is supper time. We're just, do you see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 insects here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes showing what these insects might eat. So take a look, here's the mosquito. What does a mosquito eat? A mosquito eats you, right? Butterflies, they're gonna eat flowers. The fly, well, you've seen flies on trash before, right? And the grasshopper over here. So just like these children have lines going up to their kites, I want you to draw lines from these insects over to the things that they'll eat. Then on the other one, we're going to be looking, just like you have senses that help you know about your world. You can smell, you can hear, you can taste, you can see and hear things. Insects do too, just a little bit differently. So it says here, a wasp has 2 big eyes and 3 small eyes. That's not all insects. That's special for a wasp. Color all of the wasp's eyes black. If you can't find your black crayon, you can use a black pen or you can use your pencil. But do you see here's one big eye, here's another big eye, and then here are the 3 small eyes. Go ahead and color those in. Crickets have small ears on their front legs just below their knees. Can you find an ear on this cricket? Draw an arrow pointing to the ear. Can you see that right here? That's where their ears are. Can you imagine if you had ears on your knees, just like a cricket does? A butterfly can taste with its mouth, feet, and antennae. Draw a circle around each part of the butterfly's body that can taste. So, feet. Now you guys know there are 6 feet, right? But only, they're showing us on the side, so only 3. They did show us both antennae. And you remember with the mouth, it has this proboscis that comes out. It's kind of like a straw that can drink up the nectar from the flowers. Wow, they can taste with lots of body parts. Some beetles' antennae look like fans. Beetles can smell, touch, and hear with their antennae. Take a look at that, guys. They can smell and touch and hear. Now, if you touch your ear can hear, right? And your ear can also feel like if the wind is blowing on it or somebody touches your ear. You can touch and hear with both your ear. And your nose can smell and touch also, right? But they have smelling and hearing on the same part. So we're going to draw some antennae for this beetle. Now, when it says they look like fans, I'm going to draw it fairly accurate for how it actually looks, but if you want to draw it like a different type of fan, you can. So actually what I'm drawing here is the type of antennae that you usually see on moths, because that's the sort of fan-shaped antennae that we're most often going to see. You see how it's almost fuzzy with lots of little parts? That way it can sense a lot. All right, boys and girls, nice work. This has been a lot of science that we have done today. If you would like to get one of your stickers to put on to one of these pages, probably the habitat page is where you have the most space, go ahead and add a sticker into your work here. I would like to see these 2 pages glued into your red book. The one that I really need you to show me, though, for your work for today is the habitat page, because this is the one we're really going to be building off of. Boys and girls, that's kind of a lot right there, isn't it? But that is your unit study work for today. Get that picture sent to me of your habitat page, the other pages if you're up for it, and then you can go on to your other work.